Today we are going to do the estimation of the two-room building having a veranda portion, and today we are going to do by centerline method. We have these rooms having the size of 4.5, that is horizontal length, and 3.6 vertical length of this room, and similarly this room has a size of 4 meter into 3.6 meter, that is 4 meter is our horizontal length and 3.6 meter is our vertical length, and these main wall are of length 30 centimeter or 0.3 meter, whereas we have this portion as the veranda portion, and we have 5 number of this pillar on these sides, and these pillar are of 20 centimeter into 20 centimeter dimensions. And in our question we have this sectional elevation on ABCD, whereas we have this section on PQ. That means this is our PQ section and this is our veranda portions. So when we cut this building from this PQ section, then it will give us the section of the veranda. And here today we are going to complete this estimation in 2 parts. In this part 1 we will do the estimation of the excavation in the earthwork in the filling, lime concrete in the foundation, first class brickwork in cement mortar, 2.5 thick TPC, first class brickwork in the superstructure, and first class brickwork in the parapet, and another remaining portion we will do in another part. So please do watch the full video. Let's visualize the 3D of this building so that we can clearly do the estimation of all the items. So this is the 3D view of our question. So here we can see that this is the slab portion, this is the chhajja portion of this veranda, this is the chhajja portion for the window. This is our ground level. This is our parapet portion. And these are the veranda pillars. So this is our ground level, and we can see that this is our lime concrete portion. This is our first footing. This is our second footing. And this is our third footing up to the plinth level. So first let's visualize this sectional elevation on ABCD. So here we have this portion as AB. That means from this we will see the front view of this building. So here we can see that this is the front view of this building, whereas this is the half sectional elevation of this building. So we can see this window of the back side of the house. So these are the veranda portions on this front side, and this is the door. So this is the door portion, but this portion is the front window, and this portion is our slab. And we can see that this is the chhajja portion, that is this portion, and here is our footing on these sides. So today we are going to do this estimation of building with veranda by centerline method. So firstly we have to calculate the centerline of this main wall. So we have these 2 rooms, and this dotted portion means the chhajja portion. So we can see that this small slab portion which is projecting from this window, we have this dotted portion here. That means these portions are our slab portion, that is these portions which is projecting outward here and here also. We have the center line from this side up to this side. So the total length will be equals to, this small portion is 0.3 by 2 plus this room is of 4.5 meter plus this partition wall is of width of 30 centimeter or 0.3 meter, and this room is of length of 4 meter, so plus 4, and again this small portion is of 0.3 by 2, so I can write 0.3 by 2, and here we can see that this length is equals to this length, so we can simply multiply by 2, and we have to add these vertical lengths on all these 3 sides. So the total vertical length of this room from this side up to this side is 3.6 meter. So this small portion is 0.3 by 2 and this small portion is also 0.3 by 2. So I can add plus 0.3 by 2 plus this length 3.6 plus this length is also 0.3 by 2, and all these 3 lengths are same, so I can simply multiply by 3. So I will get the total center line as 29.9 meter. Now our next step is to calculate the center line of this veranda. So firstly we need to calculate this center to center distance from this pillar center up to this pillar center. So for this we need to calculate the total outer to outer distance of this wall. So now we are going to calculate the total outer to outer dimension from this side up to this side, and then we will subtract this small projection that is of 0.2 by 2 and this small projection that is also 0.2 by 2 because this width of this wall is 20 centimeter. So we have this wall 0.3 meter plus this width of this room is 4.5 meter plus this width of this wall is 0.3 plus this width of this room is 4 meter and again this width of this wall is 0.3. So we have now got the total outer to outer length, but we need the total distance from this point up to this point. But we have got this outer to outer length from this side up to this outermost part. So we have to reduce this small projection. So width of the wall is 0.2. So this small projection is 0.2 by 2. So minus 0.2 by 2. And here also we have to reduce this small projection of 0.2 by 2. So minus 0.2 by 2. And we have only one number of this veranda front walls. And we need to add these two side walls. Now we need to calculate the center line of this side wall, that is from this side up to this side. We have to add this small projection of 0.3 by 2 and again this inner portion 1.6 and this small projection of 0.2 by 2. That is, this width of the wall is 20 centimeters, so the center length will be 0.2 by 2. And we have these two number of these side walls, so we need to multiply by 2. So in this way we can find out the center line of this veranda wall and we get 12.9 meter. Now our first step is to calculate the earthwork in excavation in the foundation for the main walls, and for this we need to see our section. So here we have these two sections, that is the section on ABCD and the section on PQ, and we know that when we do the excavation we need to do the excavation up to the ground level. So we have this portion as our ground level and below the ground level we have the height of 90 centimeter and we need to make a trench of this 90 centimeter height and this width is also 90 centimeter. Whereas this is our veranda portion and this is our ground level and we have to do the excavation up to the ground level. We need to make a trench of this 70 centimeter width up to the ground level. That means the height of this excavation will be 40 plus 20 plus 30, that is 90 centimeter, and this width of this excavation is 70 centimeter. So here we can see that these width are of 0.9 meter whereas this width is of 0.7 meter. So we have the center line of this main wall, and when we multiply this center line by its width then we will get this area. Similarly, when we multiply this center line by its width then we will get the area from this center line up to this center line. Similarly, here also when we multiply this center line by its width then we will get its area from this center line up to this center line, and here also we will get this area. And here also when we multiply this portion by its width of 0.9 then we will get this area. This area is considered twice. Here also this area is considered twice. So it means that we have to subtract this two number of these T-junctions, and they have this width of 0.9 from this side up to this side. That means this portion will be 0.9 by 2. So we have to subtract these two number of these T-junctions having the width of 0.9 by 2. So number of main wall 1 in number, and this length equals to total center line length 29.9 minus 2 into, I can write this 0.9 by 2, so we get this total length 29 meter, and we have this width of this excavation 90 centimeter or 0.9 meter, and we have this height of excavation 90 centimeter, that is up to the ground level, so we can write 0.9 meter. Now our next step is to calculate this veranda wall. So we have only one number of this veranda wall, and here also we can see that we have this center line of this veranda from this side up to this side, and we have this width of the wall 0.7 meter. So when we multiply this center line by the width, that is 0.7, then we will get the areas. And here we can clearly see that this portion is considered twice. That means while calculating the area from this side as well as from this side, so this portion should be subtracted. And here also we can see that this portion is also considered twice. So we have to subtract this, having the width of 0.9 by 2. Here also 0.9 by 2. But here we can see that this area is considered twice, but this area is not considered. So we can say that this area is replaced by this area. Here also this area is considered twice, but this area is not considered. So this area replace this portion. And we need to subtract these two number of T-junctions only. So we can write that the length equals to centerline length of veranda, that is 12.9, minus number of T-junction 2, and into width of the main wall, that is 0.9, and we need to divide it by 2. So we get 12 meter, and the width of this veranda portion is, we need to see from our section, and here we can see that it is 70 centimeter width. So width equals to 0.7 meter, and for the height we need to see our section. So we have to do the excavation up to the ground level, and the height of excavation is 30 plus 20 plus 40, that is 90 centimeter or 0.9 meter, and we get 7.54 cubic meter. And here we can clearly see that we have already excavated this portion during our excavation in this veranda portion. So we have already excavated this portion, and we need to calculate the excavation for the step. That means we are going to do the foundation for this portion. And we can clearly see that we have already considered this small portion while calculating this excavation in the foundation for veranda portion. So we don't need to excavate this small portion. We need to consider only this width, okay? To calculate this width, we have to subtract this small width of 70 centimeter minus this width is 30 centimeter. That is, obviously this width equals to 70 minus 30 by 2. That is 20 centimeter portion here. And we have this total width of this step 1 meter. And in this 1 meter, we need to subtract this small portion to get this total width from this side up to this side. So we get this width equals to 1 meter minus this portion is 20 centimeter or 0.2 meter. So we get this width equals to 80 centimeter or 0.8 meter. So here we have this width 0.8, and we have one number of steps. So we have calculated this width of this excavation, and now we are going to calculate the length of this step below the ground level portion. That is, this length is equals to total length from this top view plus this small projection on this side as well as from this side. So we need to calculate this small projection length, and we have this width of this step 1 meter, that is 100 centimeter. So this small portion will be obviously 100 centimeter minus 30 minus 30 minus 30, that is 10 centimeter. So it means that this projection is of 10 centimeter length. So our projection of these two sides equals to 0.1 plus 0.1, and this total length of this stair is 2.4 meter, that is given in our top view. So we have to add these projections of 0.1 on both sides, and we get this total length 2.4 plus 2 into 0.1, that is 2.6. That is, from this side to this side we get 2.6 meter. So I can write this as 2.6 meter. And we have this height of this excavation of step only 15 centimeter. So 0.15. And we get total 31.36 cubic meter. Now our next step is to do this earthwork in filling in the plinth. And we consider that this foundation trench equals to 1/5 of total of the excavation, in which total quantity of this excavation is 31.36 cubic meter. So we get 6.27 cubic meter. Now our next step is to calculate earthwork in filling for the plinth of the room. For this we need to see our section. So here we have this sectional elevation on ABCD, and here we can see that this portion is our plinth level, and we are going to do the earthwork in filling for these plinth portions. So we have this length of the room 4 meter into 3.6 meters. So 4 meter means this horizontal length. So here we need to see that we have to do the filling from this portion up to this portion only, but we have this length of the room from this side up to this side. That means we need to reduce this small portions from this side as well as from this side. So this small portion will be obviously 40 centimeter wall minus this wall is 30 centimeter. So this small portion is 40 minus 30 centimeter by 2, that is 0.05 meter, and here also 0.05 meter. So firstly, let's visualize this section, okay? So for this, we need to cut this building from this top view, then it will look like this. So we have this portion as our plinth level, and we have the dimension of this room 4.5 meter into 3.6, that is, this is the horizontal length of 4.5. In this portion also we have this horizontal length of 4 meter, but here we need to calculate this total quantity for the plinth filling only on this hashed portion, and here also hashed portion, and we don't do this plinth filling in these footing portions. So for this, we need to calculate the length from this side up to this side, and in this total length of the room we need to subtract this small portion and this small portion to get this length. So this small portion length equals to 0.4 meter wall minus 0.3 divided by 2. So we get 0.05 meter on this side as well as on this side. Similarly, here also we have this 0.4 meter wall, and here in uppermost part we have 0.3 meter. So it means that the small projection is of 0.05 meter on this side as well as on this side. So all these small projections are of length of 0.05 meter. So it means that in this total length of the room, we need to subtract 0.05 on this side as well as on this side to get this total length. So I can write the length equals to 4.5 minus 0.05 minus 0.05, that is 4.4 meter. So I can write the length equals to 4.4 meter. And we have only one number of this room, and we have this vertical dimension of this room, that is 3.6 meter, and we need to subtract 0.05 from both these sides as same as previous process. So our breadth will be 3.6 minus 0.05 from one side and another 0.05 from another side. So we get 3.5 meter. So I can write the width is 3.5. And here we are doing this earthwork in filling only in this portion. So we have this total plinth level 60 centimeter, and we need to reduce this brick soling, and we assume that this brick soling is of 10 centimeter height, and this portion is our LC, which is 75 mm. So height equals to 0.6 meter plinth level minus 0.1 meter brick soling and minus 0.075 meter LC. So we get 0.43. We have the length of this room 4 meter and the width of this room is 3.6 meter, and we need to repeat the same process as before. That is, we have this total length of this room 4 meter from this side of the wall up to this side. So we need to subtract this 0.05 on this side as well as on this side. So the total length of this room will be 4 minus 0.05 and again minus 0.05. So the total length will be 3.9 meter. So I can directly write that the length equals to 3.9 meter. And we have this width of this room 3.6 meter. So we need to subtract 0.05 on this side as well as from this side. So we get 3.5 meter. That is same as this process. And we have only one number of this room, and the height is also same. That is, we have to reduce the 10 centimeter brick soling and 7.5 centimeter LC. Now we need to do this earthwork in filling for the veranda portions. So for this, we need to calculate the total internal dimension of this veranda portion. And to calculate this veranda portion length, first we need to calculate the outer to outer dimension of this side up to this side, and then subtract these two side walls of 0.2 meter. So our outer to outer dimension of this total building equals to 0.3 meter wall plus 4.5 meter room plus 0.3 plus 4 meter room plus 0.3 meter wall, and we have to subtract these two 0.2 meter walls on both sides. So we get 9 meter. So here we can see that we have this length of 9 meter that we have already calculated, and this wall is of width of 30 centimeter, whereas this pillar is of width of 20 centimeter. So this small projection is of width of 30 minus 20 by 2, that is 0.05 meter. And here also this pillar is 30 centimeter and this pillar is 20 centimeter. So this small projection is of 0.05. So we need to subtract this 0.05 in this 9 meter length. So this total length of this plinth filling will be equals to 9 meter minus 0.05 and again minus 0.05. Here we don't have this separate pillar foundation, otherwise these pillar will have separate type of the foundation, and we have already discussed that type of question in our previous videos. So I can write the length equals to 9 meter minus 0.05 on both sides, that is equals to 8.9 meter. And we have only one number of this veranda portion, and to calculate its width we have this internal dimension of this veranda 1.6 meter. That means we need to subtract 0.05 from this side as well as on this side. So I can write the width equals to 1.6 minus 0.05 and minus 0.05, and this height is same as above, that is 0.43, and we get our quantity 5.74. Now our next step is to calculate this lime concreting foundation, and the length and breadth is same as this earthwork in the foundation, only the height will be different. So I can simply copy all these number, length and breadth, and the height of this lime concrete is, this is our dotted portion which is the lime concrete. It is of height of 30 centimeter, and we have this veranda 1 in number having the length of 12, same as this process, and the breadth is also same, that is 0.7, and the height can be seen from this section on PQ, that is this dotted portion is our lime concrete having the height of 30 centimeter. So height equals to 0.3. Next is our step. Number of step is 1. Length is also same as this, that is 2.6 meter, but the width is different because this is our step portion having the lime concrete, and we need to put this lime concrete all over this portion. That is, this is our width of 1 meter, and it has a height of 15 centimeter, that is 0.15 meter. So I can write the width is 1 and the height is 0.15. So we get 0.39 cubic meter. Now our next step is to calculate this first class brickwork in the foundation and the plinth in cement mortar, and we have to calculate the main wall portion first, and for this we need to see our sectional elevation on ABCD as well as this section on PQ, and it would be easy if you draw these lines connecting to these pillars because we need to see the plan of each levels. So firstly we need to do this first class brickwork, and it means that this main wall has the width of 60 centimeter. This is also the main wall having the width of 60, but here we can see that this portion is our 40 centimeter. So it means that in this 20 centimeter portion, that is this is also 20 and this portion is also 20, we have this main wall, that is this all portion are of 60 centimeter, that is 0.6 meter. Whereas in this veranda portion we have this wall of 40 centimeter, that is this portion is of 0.4 meter. So we need to reduce these two T-junctions. So this portion is our 0.6 meter, that means this small portion is obviously of 0.6 by 2. So we need to reduce these two 0.6 by 2 in the total center line. So I can write the length equals to total center line of main wall, that is 29.9 meter minus 2 times of width of 0.6 by 2, because this first footing is of width of 0.6 meter or 60 centimeter. So we get 29.3 meter and the width is 0.6 meter, and the height of this first footing is 20 centimeter, that is 0.2, and we have only one number of footing. And here we can see that this is our second footing having the width of 50 centimeter, and in the same level we can see that this veranda has 30 centimeter width. So we can say that the main wall has 50 centimeter whereas veranda has 30 centimeter. So this is the top view of this level, that is this main wall are of 50 centimeter, that is 0.5 meter, whereas this veranda portion is of 0.3 meter. So we can see that this portion is overlapping twice because we have considered this area from this side as well as from this side. So this portion is considered twice, so we need to subtract this portion as well as this portion. So we have two number of T-junctions and we need to subtract 0.5 by 2 because this wall is 0.5 meter, so this portion will be 0.5 by 2. And we have only one number of this second footing, and this length equals to total center line length, that is 29.9, and minus 2 into width of footing. So our second footing has a width of 0.5 meter. So minus 2 into 0.5 by 2, and we get 29.4, and the width is 0.5, and the height of this second footing is, this portion is 20 centimeter, so 0.2. And our next step is to calculate this third footing up to the plinth. That means this is our third footing and it is extended up to this plinth level, so it is this footing up to the plinth, and this portion has a width of 40 centimeter, whereas in this section on PQ we can see that this width is of 30 centimeter. So our top view will look like this. It means that these main walls are of 40 centimeter, whereas this veranda portion are of width of 30 centimeter or 0.3 meter. And here also we can see that this portion and this portion is our T-junction. This width is of 0.4 meter and this width is 0.4 by 2. So we need to subtract 0.4 by 2 in our center line. We have only one number of this third footing, and the length will be center to center length 29.9 minus 2 times of 0.4 by 2, because 0.4 is the width of this third footing of main wall, and we get 29.5, and we have this width 0.4 meter, and the height up to plinth is, this portion is 60 and this portion is 20, so this total height will be 60 plus 20, that is 80 centimeter. Now our next is our veranda portion, and we have this first footing, and we have this portion as our first footing, and we have this width of 40 centimeter. So in this same level we can see that this main wall has a width of 60 centimeter. So we have these veranda portions of 40 centimeter, that is 0.4 meter, and these main walls of 0.6 meter. The center line is multiplied by this width of 0.2, then we will get these portions. But we can clearly see that this portion is overlapped, because we have already calculated this small portion while calculating the center line of the main wall, and here also this portion is overlapped. So we need to subtract these two small portions from this side and this side, and the width of this portion is 0.6 meter by 2. So we need to subtract the two main wall having the width of 0.6 by 2. And don't get confused, because this portion is also considered twice and this wall is not considered, and this portion can easily replace this portion because both these areas are same. So we have this center line of this veranda 12.9, and we need to subtract the main wall of 0.6 meter by 2, that is 12.3. But here we can see that the width of this veranda is only 0.4 meter, that is here we can see that it is 0.4 meter or 40 centimeter, and the height of this footing is 20 centimeter. Width of this first footing is 40 centimeter and the height is 0.2 meter. Now our next step is to calculate this plinth wall lower footing. That means we are going to consider this footing into two topics, that is footing below the plinth level and footing above the plinth level, because in this level we have the main wall of 50 centimeter width, whereas in this above level we have this footing of 40 centimeter. That is, we have two different width of this main wall. So since we have two different width, we need to consider into two different topics. So we are going to consider into plinth wall lower footing and plinth wall upper footing. So firstly plinth wall lower footing, and in this portion we have the main wall of 50 centimeter and this portion is 30 centimeter. So this is our top view, and this main wall has a width of 0.5 meter, whereas this veranda portion has a width of 0.3 meter. So here also we can see that this portion and this portion is overlap, and we need to reduce this small portion having the width of 0.5 meter by 2 from this side as well as from this side. So the length equals to 12.9 center line minus 2 into 0.5 by 2, that is 12.4, and the width is also 0.3 meter. And it has a height of 20 centimeter because this main wall of 50 centimeter has the height of 20 centimeter and all these levels has height of 20 centimeter. Now our next step is to calculate this plinth wall upper footing. That is, we are going to consider these portions, and these portions. This main wall are of 40 centimeter width, whereas these veranda pillars are of 30 centimeter width. So we have these main wall of 0.4 and these veranda are of 0.3. So here we can see that this small portion and this small portion is considered twice. So we need to subtract these. This is 0.4 and this portion is 0.4 by 2. So in this total center line, that is 12.9, we need to subtract 2 times of 0.4 by 2. And 0.4 is the main wall width. So we get 12.5 meter. But the width of these veranda pillars are of 30 centimeter, that is 0.3 meter from our section view. And the total height of this pillar is, this portion is 20, so this is 20, and this portion is 60, so 60 plus 20 equals to 80 centimeter. So I can write that the width is 0.3 and height is 0.8. And we have to do this brickwork in the steps. So we have one number of step, and we have this total length of the step 2.4 meter from our top view. So length is 2.4 and the width is, this portion is 0.9 because this trade is of 0.3, that is 0.3 plus 0.3 plus 0.3 is 0.9, whereas the top width is 0.3. Since we have two different width, we need to take the average of these two. So our width will be 0.9 plus 0.3 whole divided by 2. So the width is 0.6. So we have the riser of 15 centimeter. So it means that this portion is 15 centimeter and this is also 15 and this is also 15. So the total height of the step will be 0.45 meter. So 0.45. Now our next step is to calculate this 2.5 centimeter thick DPC, and we can see that these DPC are kept all over these surfaces except these doors, and here also the DPC will be kept, and in this surface and this surface also, whereas this DPC is also kept in this pillar portion. And here we can see that this DPC is over this portion, that is this width of DPC is 30 centimeter. So width is 0.3. So this length will be equals to total center line of the main wall, that is 29.9 minus 2 times of 0.3 by 2. So we get 29.6. And in case of this veranda pillar, we have 5 number of these pillars having the length of 0.2 and the width is also 0.2. And we need to subtract these doors, and we have 3 number of doors, and these doors are of length of 1.2 meter and width is 0.3, and this should be deducted. So we get 8 meter square. And our next is our first class brickwork in cement mortar. The width of this main wall is 0.3 meter in superstructure, that is here we can see it is 30 centimeter. So this 29.6 will be same as this DPC portion, and we have only one number of this main wall and only different will be its height. So we have this height of superstructure 3.6 meter from this side up to this side. This is our pillar portion and this is the portion above the pillar. This is our pillar above the veranda. We are going to consider this portion, and this portion is our this portion in section on PQ. That is, this width of this pillar is 0.2 meter. That is given here. So I'll write its width first, and we have only one number of these portion. And here we can see that this portion is 20 centimeter and the main wall has a width of 30 centimeter. So let's visualize it from the top view. So from the top view it will look like this. That means these walls are of 30 centimeter whereas this pillar is of 20 centimeter. So we need to subtract the 2 number of T-junction, that is from this side as well as from this side, and these T-junctions are of width of 30 centimeter by 2, that is 0.3 by 2. So I can write that the total length equals to centerline length of this veranda, that is 12.9 minus 2 is our T-junctions number, and we need to subtract 0.3 by 2, which is the width of the main wall. So we get 12.6. And we need to calculate its height. So here we can clearly see that this height is this total 3.6 minus this portion 2.7. So this portion will be 0.9 meter. So I can write that the height equals to 0.9 meter. And we have these pillars 5 in number having the length and breadth of 0.2 meter, and the height of this pillar is 2.7 meter. And now we need to deduct all the doors, windows and lintel, and for this we have 3 number of doors having the length of 1.2, having the width of 0.3, and it has a height of 2.1 meter. and we have 8 number of windows, and it has a length of 1.1 and height is 1.5. So length is 1.1 and height is 1.5, and it has also width of 0.3, that is width of the main wall. And now we need to reduce this lintel, that is, here we can see that these are the lintels and they are kept all over these main walls. So these lintels are of the height of 0.15, that is given in our section. That is, here we can see it is 15 centimeter RCC band lintel. So this length will be same as this length because it is kept all over the main wall. So width of 0.3 and height of 0.15. Whereas we have this bandwidth lintel in veranda portion also. It has this band lintel on all these 3 sides. So this length will be equals to this above pillar length, that is, it is equals to 12.6, and this veranda has a width of 0.2, that is 0.2 meter pillar, and the height of this lintel is also 0.15, and we need to subtract this shelves. So here we can see that there is a small shelf opening and it has a length of 1.1 meter and the width is 0.2, height of the lintel is 0.15, and we need to subtract all this, so we get 26.81. And now next is our brickwork in the parapet. So here we can see that we have this width of 0.1 meter, it can be seen from our section on PQ. So we have these parapets of 10 centimeter, and this is our center line. And now we are going to calculate the center line of this side. So to calculate the center line, we need to first calculate the total outer to outer dimension of this side, and then subtract this small portion, that is 0.1 by 2 from this side, and here also 0.1 by 2. So we get this total outer to outer length 9.4 meter, and we need to subtract this small portion, that is this wall is of width of 0.1, so this half portion is 0.1 by 2 from one side and another 0.1 by 2 from this side also, to get its center to center length. So we get 9.3 meter. And similarly here also, first we need to calculate the outer to outer length. So our length will be 0.3 plus 3.6 plus 0.3 plus 1.6 plus 0.2, that is 6 meter. And in this outer to outer length, we need to subtract this small portion, that is 0.1 by 2, and here also 0.1 by 2. So we get 5.9 meter. We have only one number of this parapet, so 1, and this length will be total perimeter, that is 2 times of 9.4 meter and 2 times of 5.9 meter, that will be 30.6, and the width of this parapet is 0.1. So we have this parapet from this side up to this side, and this is our LC portion, and we assume that it is of 10 centimeter. So this total will be 60 plus 10, that is 70 centimeter or 0.7 meter. So we get 2.14 cubic meter. In this way, we have completed this part 1 portion of this estimation of building with veranda by Centerline method. So if you like my video, please like, share and subscribe.